Now in its 10th year, this is Gabnet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, guess who? Live from Harlem in New York City, it's me. I'm Alex, and this is the Ramble.
Well, after a big new year, there she is, ladies and gentlemen. Her nibs. I don't know why. Remember that her nibs, Miss Georgia Gibbs, and I could never figure out what a nib was.
I don't know it. Now, I always thought it was associated with George Burns, but no.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just a perception because I heard you use it, and I hear occasional references to it.
Yeah.
Nib.
Her nibs, Lori Thompson, ladies and gentlemen, who was my aide de camp in a little radio expedition in San Francisco, which is, how many years ago was that now?
I think it was 86 when we first became acquainted, first started doing the morning show. I remember the meeting we had.
Yeah.
And so 86, and your hiatuses. I was like, okay, how long was that section? How long was this section?
Yeah.
But so I would say total, at least 14 years.
14 years, yeah. So that's how many years ago?
I always think of the end as 97-ish. That's when CBS bought Live 105.
Yeah, but so that's 26 years ago?
Lots. Yeah, I've lost count.
But then you add the beginning of it, and it's like 36 or 40 years ago.
Yeah, so we go back.
So isn't it time we started to forget it?
Oh, but I never want to forget it. It was just fun going, because you were different than any radio guy I ever worked with, or radio person I ever worked with.
How was I different?
You were real. You just talked, and that sounds so trite, but you talked about things that people actually talk about. You did you were doing a Seinfeld before Seinfeld did, like with topics like that seemed taboo to radio before.
Yeah.
And you would just take them on, which I thought was great because that's how people talk when they're just hanging out with their friends, and it just seemed more genuine to me.
Well, my problem was I loved radio so much that I hated radio.
Explain, please.
In other words, I loved it so much that when I saw it being done in a rather, how could we call it, slipshod manner, I couldn't stand that.
Yeah, that's troubling. When I listen to a podcast and people have mistaken a podcast for just a couple fellas sitting around shooting the breeze, talking about nothing, talking about chicks, don't have.
Oh, by the way, they have to. All these podcasts have to show their microphone, which I don't do because I hide it. See it? There it is.
Yeah. Why do they?
But I hide it. I don't want the microphone to be seen. This is magic,
Exactly. And they have, because so I'm in broadcasting, and so the microphone as a visual, I guess, they think it enhances their craft.
But anyways, and they all have these big, giant microphones with the big stands, They're all sitting there with the microphones, and that's a pod. No, hide the goddamn microphones,
Yeah, come on.
For years, TV stations, did everything they could to hide the microphones. Every now and then it would drop into the frame and you go, oh, there's the microphone.
I know. Oh, big, somebody's going to lose their game.
Or a little lavalier you put here that was almost the same color as your shirt, so nobody knows that there's a microphone.
Yeah.
We have to have a microphone. That's how you hear us. But
it's magic.
But anyway, so that's what bothers me about podcasts. But what bothered me about broadcasting primarily was how they sucked on the teat of their audience. In
It
other
was
words,
like, hey, talking down to people. all the time.
hey, good morning. How are you? Glad to have you here. Well,
Yeah,
mine was, hi, good morning. You're here again?
yeah.
You know, I mean, I just didn't believe that you had to kiss the audience ass in order to get them to listen to you, and that was demeaning to them, that you
Yes,
felt
that's
you
what
had to be that way.
you taught me. Never talk down to people. Never talk down to the audience because it's obnoxious first, and it's just pretentious. Uh, And so to be more honest with the audience, show them your, I don't know, show them your frailties, tell them about your life, which is not always going to be, hey, you're really great, but that you didn't have that false bravado.
I mean,
Which
what I always hated about radio also was when I got more and more power,
Mhm.
I wielded it, but not against you or against the people who worked with me. I did it against the general manager and the program director.
Right, ruffled a few feathers, you did.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
I go in there and it's basically like, really? You want to get mad at the cow that's giving you the milk? You know?
Right. But that's what I liked about working with you. It was just, and plus it was real. It was genuine. It was what people are talking about, not a sanitized version.
I
With,
think, yeah, I think that was part of it. I think the other part of it was just anti everything in radio. I mean, I was going back to an old model. You know, everybody said, "Oh, you're so original, and the show is so different," and blah. I said, "No, it all goes back to the radio I listened to when I was growing up in the mid '40s. You know, I
and
had a radio and I listened to these shows, and they had an audience, and they had music, and they had all kinds of things, and so that's why I brought back the studio audience.
right, and we had a live band when we would do the live broadcast once a month or something,
Yeah.
and those were so great because you took
Oh,
those old
when we did
those
the Christmas shows, the
oh my
Supper with
gosh,
Schwartzman programs, we
yeah.
had a full orchestra.
Yes. And that's you brought the elements of entertainment that are timeless
Yeah.
with us, with
Yeah.
you.
So anyway, everything I did was based on the model I grew up with, and the
Mhm.
radio that had long since disappeared.
And information compellingly and entertainingly delivered is what you did.
There was another level to it though. My favorite disc jockey when I was growing up. I hate using the word disc jockey, but he used it, so I'll use it. Because I hate disc jockey. That's kind of like if oh, you work here at this office, you're a desk jockey.
Yeah,
You know, and
right.
then they'd be upset. How can you call me that? Well, don't call me a disc jockey.
Right, because there were so many hacks out there who were
Yeah.
just jock.
Don't
And they
call me a
just,
disc jockey.
yeah.
But anyway, I kind of had this whole thing where I really railed against anything that was done like you were supposed to do it now. I hated the fact that the radio I loved was replaced by this model
Yeah.
that just seemed to be everywhere. I mean, every station did it. You didn't have an audience, and you didn't try to entertain. I think that's the biggest
That's
problem.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
You, yeah. I mean, a
you
disc.
want to when you're hanging out with your friends, you're hanging out and you want to entertain each other and you want to have a blast, and that's what you brought to the radio that I hadn't worked with before, and so that to me that was wonderful.
Yeah. So I mean, but anyway, what I was saying is, you get this power at a radio station, and you can start wielding it. I mean, if they gripe out, well, why did you do that this morning? You go, hey, I'm the cow, okay?
Yeah,
Just milk me and let's go.
right. Otherwise, back off.
Well, I found out, who was it, from Chuck or somebody, how much money I made for that radio station a year. And I didn't realize it. He knew the number. I can't remember what it is now, but it was like quite substantial.
Right.
I mean,
It
for
was-
those days, it was $4 or $5 million a year.
Yeah,
And I didn't realize that. I mean, if I realized that, I would have asked for more.
Well, yeah, because I think the rumor is now this is the anecdotal that's been passed down was that Joe Field, who I always really liked, and his son, David, runs it now. But
Yeah.
he supposedly he was a lawyer. He was an attorney by trade, and he had a case involving an FM radio station. And he thought, in a visionary way, this is going to take off, and this will be the standard. So he bought the station that became Live 105. It was Hot Hits. Only I don't think it was Hot Hits when he purchased it, but it was something.
Well, he
like
went out he went out and got a consultant.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the consultant said, "Hey, why don't you become Hot Hits Kits? Because I've got Hot Hits Baltimore, and I've got Hot Hits this, and so you become Hot Hits." Well, I mean, that was ridiculous. When I went over and it was Hot Hits Kits, I went, ugh.
But you can't just change a radio station overnight if you want to retain listenership.
Well, here's the thing.
So,
Maybe most people, if you're listening to us and you were in San Francisco and you were listening to us at the time, okay, here's something you didn't know. When we went to Modern Rock,
yeah.
the guy who owned the radio station didn't know we did it.
Really?
He didn't
Just kind
know
of
it.
Under the table.
They said to him, "We're changing the name of the station. We're going to Modern Rock," and he didn't know the difference. He wasn't a music guy. He just owned radio stations and wanted to make money out of them.
Yeah, investment.
So they completely changed the format without him knowing it. And
It
it
was-
wasn't until he came to San Francisco once and he turned on the radio station and he said, "What the hell is this?"
What did you do?
And he went to the radio station and he sat down with our general manager, who at the time was Ed Cramp,
You did, Ed.
and he said, "You behind my back changed the format of this radio station." And then he paused and he said, "But apparently it's working."
Change your
And
thing.
he said, "If it wasn't working, you'd be out of here."
Yeah.
But
But he made a gamble, and to
and-
Ed's credit, it worked.
don't try to do that sneaky thing on me ever again.
Yeah. Well, you had a resource like Steve Masters, who was so into music. When he would go on vacation, like in Europe or Bangkok, he would bring home suitcases full of records because he was so into music and the styles and the new music that was being done out there that nobody played,
Yeah.
and that it worked.
So we changed the name of the format to Modern Bangkok. So, by the way, can you hear drilling going on outside?
I cannot. Well, I did a
Good.
little Sado dentist open next to you.
No, what happened is they're tearing up the courtyard.
Oh, you mentioned your beautiful courtyard, but it's going to be restored to its 1920s.
No. They're just trying to keep it from leaking into the basement. So
Well, that would be
they're
nice.
going into. We have these 4 quadrants of dirt and whatever was in there, some plants and stuff, and
Mulch.
they've dug them all up and are putting in this membrane. Okay.
Insane in the
And
membrane.
then they fill it back with the dirt that they took out, which is, the dirt. It's been there since the 1900. Okay, that dirt.
Not a lot of nitrogen.
Been there
in that.
since 1900. I think maybe it's time to just replace it with new dirt.
Yeah.
New healthy dirt.
Well, it's not going to be good for corn or soybeans.
And they're
at that
doing
point.
this thing where they're taking the dirt out and they're putting it in plastic bags, which are piled up all over the courtyard. And then,
Which is
when they have to fill up the membrane, they fill it with the old dirt, the 1900 dirt.
Yeah, one would think that you would use, because I would think that new dirt is just more readily available too. I mean, you go to.
I don't think it's that expensive. I think you're probably paying more in plastic bags than you are, in.
Get somebody to drive a semi back to Illinois, load it up. We'll sell you dirt.
You can buy. I'm sure you can buy dirt, and it's probably very cheap.
Home Depot, Lowe's. Yeah, I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
Not much market for dirt, but there's a bigger market than you think with construction.
I'm glad people can't hear the noise then, because
Yeah.
it's rather loud today.
Well, they construction I can kind of forgive.
Yeah.
Like if I'm staying in a hotel and there's construction going on, it's like, well, they can't really help that.
Yeah.
I wish I had stayed here
Yeah.
and I'll do my research better next time. But yeah, I had that happen in Nashville. I was there for a week and they forgot to mention that they were launching this major construction project. And I had to work, I think I was there to do a test work thing, a test stint. And it was
They
like,
bring you in for a week and you work, and then they decide whether they want you or not.
right. And it was, so I'd get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and they weren't working then, but they were at 3 p.m. when I was trying to sleep.
Well, let me tell you something about going in for those, doing a week, and they decide
Yeah.
whether they want you or not.
Right.
Who was it? Camel
Yeah.
brought me in to do a week for exactly that reason. And I described that week as a way of understanding what it was I did. Where on Monday, after the show, they're scratching their heads going, what the hell was that?
What in the world?
Tuesday, they're going, I think I was right yesterday. What the hell was that? On Wednesday, they go, well, that was pretty good. That wasn't bad.
Yeah. It's working.
Thursday, they went, wow, that was terrific. And by Friday, they offered me the job.
Yeah,
Okay.
because people forget you were at KMEL before you
Yeah,
came to.
but what I had usually said to people was, they said, oh, we want to bring you in for a day to see how you do. And I go, no, you got to bring me in for a week. You'll never understand me in a day.
Exactly. It's just the whole tone and everything. Takes a little getting used to because it's not like other things you've heard
And
of.
that's really, because you're right. What was the term I used to use? I don't remember things that well, but I said the hardest thing to sell is something nobody's done before. Because
And-
all that people understand is what's already happened.
Yeah.
So if you do a radio show and you sound like what's already happened and been successful, God, you're great. You're terrific.
Yeah, that's like when TV shows are pitched. They describe them as, All in the Family meets Family
yeah. They
Feud.
always compare it one thing to another. Yeah.
Kind of a game show, kind of a.
It's all in the Family meets Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah. I just wanted to do a show called Creature from the Black Saloon, and you could film it at a bar.
Yeah.
And people come in and hang out at your speakeasy for a segment, 15 here, 15 there, and wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, because it's a combination between Creature of the Black Lagoon and Cheers.
Yeah, that's it. Perfect. You've learned the art of the pitch, the Hollywood pitch.
Yeah. But anyway, so what I was saying is that, I just never liked to do things the way they were doing them then. I like the old radio, and I said, and the only thing I had in common with the old radio was the desire to entertain. And that was it.
Yeah.
You say to yourself, what can I do today that's different? And so, and we never obviously, part of the show was I was lazy. People would say to me, what are you going to do on tomorrow's show? And I go,
let's see your show notes.
well, let's see what happens. I believed in an organic show in which you went on at 6 o'clock in the morning and you went, hi, everybody, it's Alex. And who we got on the show today? And they'd throw me a list of the people who was on the show. And we would then ad-lib it through the whole thing. And it was organic. It was, and that's when you say natural, that's what was natural about it. It was purely organic. But I want to ask you now. See, when I got hired at Live 105, they said to me, we have a woman in the morning who does the news. We'd hate to let her go. Would you want to test her on your show and see if you like her? And I said, no, just have her do the show. I said, I don't want to fire anybody because I'm coming in. So,
which was a gracious move.
Well, it
was
wasn't
easier.
so much gracious as I really didn't care,
Mhm.
because my idea was whatever I needed, I would mold you into.
Right, which I felt that's why I was like a sponge, just absorbing everything that you were doing and learning from
Well,
you.
I think the hardest thing maybe I had to do, and I don't know, you'd have to answer this, is to get you to understand that you didn't have to worry about a lot of things that you used to worry about.
Yeah, and that was an ease or relief because I needed all kinds of relief at the time. I'm going to like essentially from my home 2,000 miles away, didn't really know anybody there, and that's your first thought. Am I going to get fired today? Am I going to get
Oh
do I
no, that's
take
my listen. I've never felt secure in the radio business. Never,
Yeah,
not for 1 minute. I
well,
realized that I was one questionable interview or one questionable joke away from getting fired.
yeah, and it's gotten so much more pronounced in this, like Claudine Gay at Harvard.
Yeah.
You know, she wrote an editorial in the New York Times on January 3rd, explaining it from her point of view. And it's
Well, how could they
she
get rid of her? She was black and gay.
and a woman. Yeah,
No, she wasn't homosexual. She was. Her name is gay.
yeah, but
That's that's. Wait a minute. I'm not one joke away from being fired on this show.
no,
So,
you can relax now.
yeah.
You can say what's on your mind. And
But
what
no,
you're
I never. I don't think I ever had a secure moment in radio. I
Oh
really
yeah,
didn't.
well, because you and
Because
I both talked
hmm?
about how we thought about getting into acting, but it was like there's so little security in that,
Well,
and
well,
up and
I wanted to be an actor. Yeah, that
same
was.
here.
I got into radio figuring if I do this, somebody will say, "Come act." Okay,
Oh, okay.
and that
Yeah,
never.
I
It never happened.
well,
Never
I
happened.
just thought that if I do that, there's a little more security, and then maybe I can find something else. I can learn what's going on in the market. And voiceovers or something I always wanted to do. And yeah, you have to. Radio offers you a little bit more security than
Well,
being.
you and I were this close to being characters in A Bug's Life.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would have been fun. That would have been a blast. Because now I watch. There's a good movie too, with Tig Navarro about the voiceover industry,
Yeah.
and it's very fun. If you can tell, it's
Well,
written
they actually had two characters they had created that were based on you and I.
that would be so fun.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, it was a
it's
small part, but
yeah,
and they called me at like 10 o'clock in the morning when I got off and said, "Are you and Lori available today?" And I said, "For what?" And they said, Pixar called. And I said, "For what?" And they said, "Well, we've written two parts based on you guys, and we'd like you to do the voices. So what time can you meet us?" I said, "Well," and I think I asked you, and I said, we can meet there about 3 o'clock in the afternoon because we had to go all the way. I think it was in the East Bay in those days. And I said, but we can do it. She said, "Well, let me get back to you in a couple hours, and we'll solidify it." So okay, fine. So I don't hear from them until about 1, and then they call me, and they go, "Oh, well, we just had a meeting, and we decided we're not going to use the characters."
yeah.
So
It was too real.
yeah, we changed the script. So
And that's how acting would have been every day. You're here,
yeah.
you're high as in the morning. You're just so jazzed because you're up for this
Well, no,
big
but you
part.
got a job.
Yeah,
It could be two lines in a movie, but you got a job. You got work.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the thing that somebody told me once, and it was kind of sad to hear it, and I can't remember who it was who said to me that every day, well, every movie they ever did, the last day you sign out. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah,
I read a lot of
yeah,
about
and every
a lot
time
of
he
books.
said I signed out, I didn't know that wouldn't be my last day acting.
See, that would be freaking. The head trips that your mind could put,
Yeah.
no, could put on a situation
And I
would
mean,
be.
and there was more things like that. I mean, Patrick Stewart, I had him on the show here in New York at Sirius XM, and after he left, I said, "By the way," I said, "thank you so much." And he said, "Anytime you're in town, come on by and we'll talk to you. And he said, well, I'll do that if I still have a career. I mean, he always felt that this job was the last job he was ever going to have. And
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart.
I know, man. It just goes to all levels of performance and acclaim.
Yeah. So anyway, all I got to say is you take a guy like me who has no self-esteem whatsoever, and I went into a business that spends every day trying to reinforce that notion.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
I know self-esteem is good. I'm finally building one, just
Yeah,
just
by
to
the
get
time
me
I have
through-
enough self-esteem, I'll be dead. Anyway,
Yeah.
hey, we're running out of time here.
Well,
Wonderful
I've enjoyed-
talking to the great Lori Thompson, and we shall do it again next week. How's that?
That sounds like peachy.
Bye-bye.
So try. Bye.
Now in its 10th year, this is Gabnet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Thank you very much. That's Lori Thompson. That's a rerun, of course. We've been rerunning her every week because we want you to remember that, she's still around. But she's still not ready to be able to, she can't talk well. She's got laryngitis from all the radiation and stuff around her neck. So hopefully she'll be with us in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, I don't want you to forget her. So I need to get some beard wax or something because this is starting to get, Anyway, I thought I'd see how far out I could let it grow, and I'm getting a little tired of it now. So anyway, hi everybody, how are you? Welcome. This is what is it? It's Wednesday, and it's the first show of our Rambles this week. We already did the Monday show, which went really well, really well. And we hope that this one will go really well too. And we got some people waiting to come on. So why don't we let them come into our show here? Let me admit all. Here we go. There we go. There's. Let me see here. I've got to go. Oh, wait a minute. Where am I going here? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I got to do something here. Okay. There we go. And if I go Zoom, there we go. See. A couple of days of not doing this, and I forget how to do it. Hi, everybody. How are you? Richard, Charlie Wallace is trying to connect. Alan's coming here in a moment now. Kevin and Jeffrey, how are you all?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Good.
Yeah? Yeah?
Check, check.
The content of that Lori, I know it was a replay,
Yeah.
the Lori interview.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Tell me
done.
more, I got more of an idea of what you were doing in San Francisco in '86.
Yeah.
Your philosophy, keeping the microphone away, and
Yeah. Things like
it's
that.
fun.
Yeah, well, she and I think the world of her. And she's had this bout with, she had a touch of the cancer. And they did the radiation and they did the chemotherapy, but it was right here on her throat. And so for the time being, she has a hard time talking, okay? So we're going to wait till she's ready, and then we're going to have her right back on again. But I don't want you to forget her, so that's why we keep running.
Have you
Okay?
talked to her?
I text her.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she's not in any position to talk much.
Yeah, well, that's so wondering.
Yeah.
Just to see how how well everything went.
But I have asked her how it's going, and she said, so far so good.
Good.
With these things, you only know in the immediate moment how they did. But you
Right.
got to wait 5 years to make sure it's gone away completely, and that's
Yeah, but as long as there's no present complications.
No, the only complication is she can't talk, and
Right.
that's what she does for a living. For crying
Yeah,
out
yeah, yeah,
loud,
This was throat cancer.
Hmm?
Throat cancer. Is that
No,
what-
no, it was a lump she had right here on her neck, and they took it out and they looked at it and they said it's cancerous. So then they went, this is Florida. I don't know if they would do it up here, But they started hitting her with everything. She got the radiation, she got the chemotherapy. You know, she didn't get the radiation like I did, which you get it over 5 treatments. She got the radiation where you had to go for 30 days.
Every day during the week.
Well, so if she were here, they would probably give her the what we call the what do they call it? Cyber knife is one of the names they give it.
Yeah.
And it's only a 5-day treatment or 5-session treatment. Okay, it's not 5 days.
I think it depends on the cancer. I'm not an oncologist, but
Well, I read, for instance,
I don't even
this thing that she had on her neck
right.
could be treated with brachytherapy, which is the seeds, which I did. But they don't know how to do the seeds in that part of Florida. No, they say, well, we don't really do them here. And what they're really saying is we don't know how to do them here.
How stupid.
Well, I think if she were
Florida.
if she were here, she might have a different course of treatment.
Right.
So
Probably one of the best cancer specialists in the world would probably be in New York.
I would say, either that or I'll tell you, oddly enough, it's in Texas at MD Anderson. Is probably the best cancer hospital in the country.
Yeah, around here, Sloan Kettering.
Sloan Kettering here in New York, yeah.
Yeah.
Sloan Kettering, and I went to what do you call it, Mount Sinai, which is fine. My doctor was the doctor who gave Rudolph Giuliani his prostate seeds and saved his life. I never asked him about it, by the way. I figured I didn't want to say, you did Giuliani? Thanks a lot. And then, okay, it's time now for you to get your seeds. And you know what I'm doing? I'm giving you burpee seeds, so.
They grow flowers.
I grow a flower out my ass. Yeah, right. So.
Give them the placebo.
Or they could give you the Republican seed.
Republican seed?
I don't know. I mean,
There's a joke there somewhere. We'll figure it out later. We got lots of time.
It's
How many here saw the Oscars? Anybody? Hey, you did. Okay.
off and on a little bit.
Ah, boy, I'm sorry. I am not a Conan O'Brien fan. I'm sorry.
His participation was almost minimal.
Yeah. Also, the material they wrote for him, the comics wrote for him, like Carol Leifer was writing for him, and people like that, and the jokes were fine. They were good jokes. He just doesn't know how to deliver them. That's the problem. He has no sense of comedy timing. And he covers up that fact by making all these funny little movements and things like that, to kind of cover it up. Well, that's Trump. That's Trump. Well, then, if you didn't care about the Academy Awards, how many watched our fine president last night?
Yep.
Yep.
I wanted to watch the diarrhea flow out of his mouth every time he opened his mouth.
What was it? Who was saying? I think it was what's his name? The guy who does the late nights on NBC.
You mean ABC or Jimmy Kimmel?
No, NBC.
That's Jimmy Fallon.
No, after Fallon.
Oh, Seth
Meyer. Yeah. Yeah, he had a pretty good line. He said he kept referring to what's her name is Pocahontas.
Yeah.
And she didn't feel that comfortable with it. He said, but the fact is that the movie Pocahontas was shorter than his speech last night.
It was Castro-like.
You know what it was? The State of the Union is simply, first every president starts off by saying, I'm here to tell you that the State of the Union is strong, okay? And then you go on and you start saying all the things that are good, and then you start getting to the problems we've got and saying
But it wasn't technically the State of the Union.
It wasn't?
No, it was addressed to Congress.
Yes.
Really?
He's only been in office 2 months.
It wasn't the State of the Union.
Yeah.
He
He just wanted to get up there and bullshit.
He sat there for most of this thing. What do you call it? Going after Biden. I mean, come on.
Patting himself on the back and showboating people.
I will give him credit for not opening the book that was laying in front of him to read from the book on who's who. He knew 20 people by name that were in the crowd, that they were all invited, this firefighter and this family and this border
Yeah, but that's on a teleprompter.
Teleprompter.
Oh, is it? I
Yeah.
thought they didn't use teleprompters in there.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Two of them.
Well,
No, he made fun of Obama. He made fun of Obama using teleprompters.
Yeah, and then he went on and used teleprompters.
Oops. I wondered how his memory was so good all of a sudden. Okay.
No, I mean,
That answers
Any
that.
credit.
And this little kid has cancer, and that person has this, and and
I
of
love
course
the
we're
Secret
sorry for the
Service.
kid because he got cancer from Biden.
Yeah.
So.
I did all that.
I
That
mean,
little kid, I don't know if he understood what was going on. He was in this father's police uniform or something, and then they made him a honorary Secret Service agent with the official documents that looked official. And the kid's like, okay, cool. I don't want to protect this asshole, It's probably what he was thinking.
his father died, right?
His father was a police officer that was killed in line of duty, I guess is what it said.
Yeah.
And he wanted to, somehow Trump thought he would want to be in the Secret Service protecting him.
Yeah, we're making you an honorary Secret Service member. Couldn't you just give me my daddy back?
Well, he
Right.
had brain cancer too. Yeah.
They have brain cancer? Oh.
Yeah.
He had brain cancer, and apparently, and I think Donald said 2017 or something, they told him he has 8 months to live and he's still alive. But, in modern medicine, maybe you ought to look at that a little bit, Donald.
Yeah. But I
He
mean,
didn't see Kennedy.
yeah. I just, it was, I think it was just the fact that he's constantly bashing Biden. Come on, the guy's out the door.
I don't ever remember a president bashing the previous presidents as much as Trump does.
No
He
president.
did the same thing. He did the same thing last time.
There's an unwritten creed that you don't.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
That you don't.
Republicans like to do that. What was HW? Not HW, but George W. Bush's the guy that was in charge of Halliburton.
Hmm.
He went on for 6 months about how bad the last president and the new president was, and Cheney. I mean, go to bed, go to sleep in your coffin or something.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, it was just, I just thought it was horrible what they did.
Tasteless.
Excuse me, I just put something up I shouldn't have put up. Anyway, I guess.
I never watched, but I listened to it today.
Yeah, well, it went on for far too long. I mean, the guy doesn't know how to get off while he's, I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. I don't understand how you do that. There was always a kind of an unwritten creed that the current president doesn't bash the previous president.
He missed that somewhere in President.
Somehow he didn't get the memo. Okay? Leave him alone. You're on your own now. Just go do your thing, I think
He blames everybody.
he's outstayed his welcome already. I mean, it's terrible what he's doing. And Musk is losing money now too. It seems as though he's not selling as many Teslas.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, the sales are down on that. He may not have a lot of money after this is over with.
The interesting thing is Biden said we're going to have all electric cars by 2035, something like that. But then Trump says, I took that away. We got to support the auto workers. Well, that was a kick in the balls to Musk. Musk is trying But electric
Well,
cars.
but wait a minute. On top of that, the auto workers make electric
Electric
automobiles.
cars,
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I question whether we could reach that goal and whether they would have the electric cars working at the kind of efficiency that we have with gas automobiles. I do have a problem with the charging taking too long, you know. There should be a kind of fast charger that was as fast to charge as it is to pump gas, or maybe, you know, a little more than it takes to pump gas. All right. But
Good luck with that.
when you got to sit there and wait for this thing to get charged, wait a minute, I go now to our expert, Brian Neary. How long does it take to charge
I don't know.
electric automobile? You don't know. You have electric automobiles, don't you?
Yes, but I commute. I don't know how many miles. And then I go and I get to work and I plug it in and I go to work and I get it free. And then I drive home. And then I drive back to work and I plug it in and it's free. If I need to charge here, I charge at my house. I plug it in, I go to sleep. When it's done charging, it stops.
Okay,
Really?
let me ask you a question.
You're about 35 miles one way, I think. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but let me ask you this question. When you're charging it at work, you plug it in, right? And then you go into work and do some stuff, right? But you have to come out after it's finished charging so somebody else can use it, right?
But we have a buddy system.
Mm-hmm.
So when one of my workers come out, I put my car in, and then when I leave, I call my engineer buddy, and he gets his car in.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to move it.
Okay, but nevertheless, you're at work for at least 8 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 6 hours a day. All right, 2 hours a day. Anyway,
Lady, yes.
you know, the point is, if you're in there for 8 hours, you're not going to sit there and let you. How long does it take that car to charge up to full capacity?
Well, at work, they're slow chargers, and at home, it's a fast charger.
Okay, so the fast charger takes how long?
I don't know. I can check.
30
They're
minutes.
supposedly about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
Really,
That's
that's
what I've
not
heard.
bad.
That's the fast one, and not the home. The home one will be
Yeah.
a few hours. at
Yeah, the
least.
long one is like 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh, the long one's like long.
No, the home ones, but they have long ones on the road too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So on
You got
CNN,
long and you got medium
Well,
and then fast. and then
Until
the long
until
ones
we
are home.
overcome that, okay? Like I think that most electric automobiles should have a little bit of gas that you could go over to if you run out of electricity.
they call those hybrids.
Well, they
And go
call
to
them.
the expert, Jeff. Jeff is the expert at the hybrids.
Yes.
I have that combo.
Mm-hmm.
He
But-
has stolen more hybrids. No.
But it's a non-brainer for me because it does what it needs to do.
You don't actually drive, do you? Pam drives you around.
No, Pam does the driving.
Yeah, right on.
It-
Great
Yeah,
marriage.
I killed too many people.
Yeah.
But,
Trying to drive away from the stolen car.
that do you get good mileage on that thing using it, the hybrid?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the combination, I get 37 miles a gallon.
Wow.
Okay.
As
My
compared
daughter's
to
car
not
is a
a-
Prius,
Mm-hmm.
and she
Yeah.
gets at least 50.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's pretty
That's a
good.
Prius.
Well, I think that
Yeah, it's a
he
Prius.
he was wrong in saying we're going to go all electric. He should say we're going all electric or hybrid. You know, hybrid makes a lot of sense.
Well,
You know.
part of the problem with going all electric is like if you go into Texas, they have enough trouble in the winter keeping the power up so people can stay warm. Or,
Yeah.
Well,
you know, and so
let-
now you have an extra, 50,000 cars drawing power off the system.
okay, but let's go someplace like I don't know,
California.
North Dakota, where it gets really cold during the winter. The colder it gets, the less efficiency you're going to get in the amount of time you can get on a charge.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So it's affected by that as well.
Absolutely.
So until we get some of those problems solved, I think we can't immediately go over to electric. But he said electric. He said
5 or 6 years ago, Elon Musk, because the plant is here in Fremont, gave the Fremont Police Department a Tesla Model S or something for to use in the department
Oh,
to
great.
test out and stuff like that. And they were pursuing somebody, and the car ran out of power. That was a claim to fame. The chief of police was so pissed he gave the car back to Tesla.
Yeah.
They're
Well, I mean,
enthusiasts.
I think Tesla's maybe good as a second car.
The commuter car. I think it's great for commuter car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's great for a commuter car. Then you have your weekend with the family. You go drive,
Yep.
with the SUV or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. But but eventually we'll solve a lot of those problems. But right now it's not entirely ready for prime time.
There doesn't seem to be security along like I-5 where they have these charging places. The news the other day showed two of the Tesla charging place superchargers on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And they're being investigated, but it probably was arson. And then one of them a few months ago on I-5, I think, people went to plug in there. They were out of power, but somebody had pulled all the copper out of the thing. So they need to do a better job of securing these things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just got a thing from Bree that he was signing on, but unfortunately, I don't think it was Bree because Bree would have come on immediately, and he was sitting there waiting to come on. So
Right, he's eating sushi usually.
yeah, yeah.
Lucky guy.
Well, some people I know
Mhm.
are getting rid of their car because of emotional problems,
The
political
electric car,
problems.
Well, yeah.
Oh, political
electric
problems.
cars are all cars, Jeff.
No, I'm talking about.
Well, listen,
Trump.
I got to tell you, when you talk about not buying a Tesla because of Trump, because of Musk, I would not buy. I mean, Tesla seemed like a good idea to me. If I were to buy another car, I'm not in the market for it, but if I were, and I think they were a very interesting car that kind of feel a little cheap, but the point is that because of Musk's politics, I couldn't bring myself to buy his car in a million years.
I'll bet that your building is a historical landmark, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that if they want to change the color of the building, they got to get city approval.
Right.
Here would be Alex Bennett with the wrong color charging cable running from the 8th floor down to the car. I thought it would be.
Well, Bree just entered the waiting room again. Let's see if it is Bree. Let me just put my face up here so that in case it isn't Bree, then you're not going to have to see whatever these people do. But I think it's probably Bree, I would imagine. There he is. Okay, there we go. Sorry, Bree, I didn't know it was you because you didn't come in fast enough. And when people don't come in fast enough, we think they're getting ready to run some video. So.
What kind of video?
Shall we say questionable material?
Unicorns and rainbows?
Yoga.
Yeah.
Yoga sessions.
It is stuff that is so gross that even my group here goes, ooh. So anyway, no.
How come people don't put girls, like eating sushi together in the nude or something like that?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, it's all gay porn. It's not straight porn.
I get it. I've seen it.
And I'm sorry. Gay porn doesn't bother me. I've seen penises before. I can see one by looking down. Okay. But
wait a minute. Jeff is below you. Oh.
At least I still have one.
Aha.
Yes. Right. Exactly. So anyway. I just I couldn't. But you know what else is happening is I last night, for instance, in this whatever that speech was supposed to be, he mentioned various people who were improving things and doing things because he asked them to, and so on. I mentioned Tim Cook again. And I just, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm all appled up here. My computer's an Apple, and my iPhone's an Apple, and my watch is an Apple, and so on. And I really don't feel too good about buying Apple at this point because of Tim Cook.
Tim Cook a couple weeks ago said that he is not pro-Trump. First of all, Tim Cook's gay, but he says
But why then? I know, and that's why he shouldn't be for Trump.
They were going to build this $500 million plant anyhow, Apple, and try and bring over more stuff here and get it away from China.
Because they found themselves actually being caught in that maelstrom.
So they thought they would build it here.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff, and so Trump just took credit for it last night.
Yeah, yeah, but he shouldn't have. But still,
ago.
I mean, even he went to his inauguration, for crying out loud. He allowed himself to be used. Okay, and it didn't make me feel all that good about about Apple. And then who else? Oh, then I can't I have to deal with them, but I don't like Facebook because of that moron. And then I said, well, at least I can be happy with YouTube. And then I suddenly realized, oh, there's one of the heads of Google sitting up there during the inauguration. And I'm going, come on, do you really want to go to inauguration that bad?
Costco didn't show up, right?
What?
Costco didn't show up.
Costco didn't show up. Costco is very anti-Trump, and they're not going to do away with DEI. Here's what I don't get about DEI. They create these things in which it's like a horrible trope. DEI, it's horrible, it's terrible. And I look at DEI and I'm going, what's terrible about that? You're simply saying you're going to get the best person for the job. It's just you're not going to discriminate as to race and sex and so on. But you're still not going to hire the worst person because he happens to be black. Right. DEI, that's not the spirit of DEI.
It's woke.
Yeah. And Costco said, we're not doing away with DEI.
No. Walmart and Target, two other big retailers, did away with it.
Yep.
Yeah, they weren't running. Well, Walmart is based in Bentonville or something like that in Arkansas.
Well, so does this mean if you're getting rid of DEI, you're no longer going to give people, the best people, the job, because the best person might be black?
I was in Walmart the other day, and they have blacks, Latinos,
all DEI says is you are going to hire the best person, but you're not going to exclude certain people because of race or sex. And for years, some of the best people, some of the most available people who are good and terrific at what they do, weren't able to get a job. Now, the best gets hired. Yes, Brian?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. All I'm saying is, but some companies make, like football, some companies that I've been involved with make you, they have to check the boxes on the D&I, so they have to make sure that they interview black, gay, or something like that, the Indian or something, that they have to go through that check mark. Even if they know they're going to promote somebody, they have to post it, and they also have to make sure that they check all the boxes.
Do the interview.
So is that
I was part of that because of when I got laid off. I went to reapply for my job in another position that they wanted me to put in.
Right.
And I was completely qualified and had pile of references. I'd been doing the job basically for 18 years anyway. But the guy that was interviewing me you wouldn't have known he was interviewing me. He kept getting interrupted. He kept answering his phone. He kept doing this. He said, okay, well, thank you. We'll let you know. Week later, it's like, no, we've decided to go to a different way. And they never hired somebody in that position.
Yeah.
They ended up giving it to someone in the office that knew nothing about dispatching trucks and safety programs and everything else.
But
I've been doing that for 18 years.
Brian, is what you're saying is that it makes it more difficult for the businesses to hire people? Or they just...
No, it's just the hoops you have to go through. But then you're saying if you see 10 resumes and you say 7 of them are white and 3 of them are mixed. And no, you have to do 50-50. So those 5 white people, you have to say you can interview those, but those other 5 you cannot interview those next few people who you think are good just because they happen to be white. You have to make sure that you interview
the other 5 get interviewed. Yep.
Or a woman.
They all get.
And then I've also seen.
And I had to hire a woman because of that.
Yeah, and I've also seen. Somebody from DE&I get hired without them going through the whole process, just promoting them into big positions, which isn't right. But
Charlie, we know you're a very intelligent person.
He's black too.
Ooh, that's another box check.
DE&I, we check the box here. And
please, we don't use the term black. Negro is the term.
No, colored person.
Colored person.
What color are you?
But here's my question, Charlie. You're intelligent. You're a brainy guy. Were you ever refused a job you felt because you were black?
Well, no, I've never been refused. I've gotten every job I've applied for.
Okay.
Wow.
So
McDonald's is not picky who works the window.
Yes, Ray.
Well, I hate Trump, as you know, but I have to say, in the world of live theater in the Bay Area, DEI became, you better not put two, especially in equity theater in the union, you better not put more than 1 or 2, probably just 1 white person in your cast, because if you do, you're going to get holy hell from the community, and no one's going to make it possible for you to continue. I quit the union because there was nothing left for me. If you go and you look at all the professional theaters here, there's almost no white people in any of the casts.
Wow. Well, that doesn't seem to make sense to me.
But that's how, and I'm not just talking, it's just people of color. So if you're Asian, black, Latino, whatever, that all counts. Or if you're gay or trans or something. If you're a woman, that's kind of okay. But I am I went from being the easiest person to be cast because of demographics to being the most impossible person to cast.
Well, you know why you can be cast now? Because you're getting older.
But the problem is, so they have very few parts for me because they don't want to have shows where they require someone like me, and the same 3 guys keep getting all the roles. It's incredible.
Why don't you tell them you're gay, and that way you'll get more work?
I would actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So the DEI in that world is not really working the way it should, I don't think.
Well, see, I think the spirit of DEI should be that you always are looking for the best person for the job. But you're not judging as part of that criterion what race they are.
Oh, that's not how it works.
To me, that's what DEI should be. That's
what it should be.
Well, there are some companies that have literal counts.
Yeah.
They have a percentage that they have to maintain of colored, Hispanic, gay, black,
Did you
whatever.
say colored?
He said colored.
Colored people. They're colored.
Yeah.
That's what my grandmother used to say. It drove me crazy.
Yeah.
And my grandfather was worse. The thing that, so I was sort of, I created a couple programs in Lodi over the last 4 years about DE&I. And one of the things that I stressed was if I'm a smart manager or director, I was director at that time, if I have a project and I need something solved, and I have 5 white guys trying to solve it who grew up in the Bay Area, and we all sort of same lifestyle and all that stuff, we're not going to have any new ideas, new set of eyes. So that's why I like to mix up those teams, because then when I have somebody from India, I have somebody on the line, maybe Latin, and then somebody else different. You have different growing up situations. You have different ideas that are flowing. And that's going to make you solve those problems, not 5 white guys. And that's why I like the DEI part of it.
Let me ask you this. When it comes to your business, which is technology, okay, your Asians are very, very good at what you do. Okay? So wouldn't that component give you your DEI makeup?
DEI.
Yeah, but then you have Indian too, and Indian are growing up a different culture, different lifestyle. So that's going to have different ideas when you're trying to solve the problem, and different education. And then you have a couple of white guys. You have a couple of people like Charlie who are very, very educated, and I have a couple of people on the line that maybe not educated, but they have the hands-on experience. That's how I'm going to solve the problem. So that's why I think the D&I portion of not regulating it, but understanding for me, wow, these are different backgrounds and they're going to help me solve issues better than they would the same 5 white guys that grew up in San Jose and been in tech business. So that's why I look at it. That's going to be my.
Bree has his hand up. He's had his hand up for a while, and I don't want him to lose all circulation to it. So.
I just want to chime in that maybe, we'd have to clarify it a little bit more, but maybe one of the white guys lived abroad for many, 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 many years in India, in Malaysia, in the United Arab Emirates, in China. So it's not the skin color. That's a lot of people tend to come down to that. I'm like, diversity comes in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that, I have a diversity package that belies my skin color.
Okay, you can be on my team. Don't worry.
Okay. All right.
But I do have one other quick thing. We have factory in Lodi. We have a factory in Sunnyvale. We have a factory in Sweden. We have a factory in Washington. Now, do you think the DE&I program goes to each one of those factories? Sweden, they're all Swedish. All tall, white Swedish people. There's no diversity and inclusion there. But they're part of our country.
But
only here in the U.S.
But it's pretty hard to find a black person in those countries, right?
Not too hard. They're immigrating.
Cold.
Yeah.
It's no matter what, they don't grow them there or what? What's the deal?
Well, don't they grow them? I was.
Except
here's something, Alex. If someone comes to the U.S. To work, they can get a job. They can find a job. But here, if somebody comes to Malaysia, you have to have a proven skill set or education to be able to work here. So, if you come from Africa to Malaysia, they're gonna see your skin color immediately, and you're gonna get checked. Whereas if you're in the States and you come from Africa, they're gonna just be like, you're just an American. So it's harder to parse that.
Not under Trump.
You mean an African? You mean somebody who was born in Africa and doesn't come from our horrible past? You mean, what do you mean?
Yeah,
in America?
They could come to America and get a job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but in other countries, where the skin color would stand out, they would have difficulty unless they have the degree, the skill set, that's provable. But we don't necessarily require that, because America has always been, and I think we do a little bit more now, but like Singapore, forget it. You have to have the extremely high qualifications, or they're not going to let you come in.
But they don't look at the color of the skin of that person to say whether he's qualified or not. They find out whether he can do the job or not, right?
Yeah.
Well, you said that kind of hesitantly.
Well, yeah, they're so.
Are you saying are you saying that Malaysia is racist?
Oh, it absolutely is, and they'll agree to it. I mean, it's codified into the society. That you say it as if it's a bad thing, because you're coming from an American perspective. But I can walk out down the street and it will say, for rent, only to Chinese, only to Malay. It will say that right on the rent sign.
Really?
Yes.
And do they? Some of them say no brie.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to China in 1992. If you were overseas white, you paid the highest price. If you were overseas Chinese, you paid the second highest price, and if you were resident Chinese, you paid the lowest price.
Well, I'll tell you what happened to me when I went to the Great Wall of China. We're there, Marjorie and I, and we're like an oddity. They're all coming up, taking pictures of us, wanting selfies with us, because we were Americans. And I thought that was really strange, that they found that unusual and interesting.
I think a lot of those people recognized you and said, "That's Alex Bennett."
Yeah, sure.
Well, Alex, it depends on where they're from. So like, for example, you're at a tourist site. It's possible they could be from a province and they've been brought in for the day to go to that site.
Oh, it's very, very much true. But if I showed you the videos of the Great Wall of China where we were, there are no Americans there. There are no white people there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when I meet my African American or African friends abroad and we go out, that's usually a oddity.
Mm-hmm.
They see the black guy, and the white guy, and it's clear we're not from there.
Wow.
Australia wouldn't allow. They wouldn't hire anybody who came from a different country. They wouldn't let you in there.
Oh, so they wanted people in Australia to be able to have the jobs rather than people coming from outside the country.
Yeah, it wasn't just. It was 100% difference.
Australia will definitely pick a Commonwealth person over like an American any day of the week.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So there you go.
That's why you have to work on your Australian accent at all times.
Yeah.
You never know.
They might.
Yeah. Well, who wants to live in Australia anyway when you eat Vegemite for breakfast?
Disgusting.
You ever had Vegemite? I ordered some once from Amazon just to see what it was like. And how anybody can spread that on butter, on toast rather, and think that's a good idea is beyond me. It's like eating axle grease.
It's gross.
I've never tried axle grease. What's that like?
It's like Vegemite.
It's better than that.
Tastes
like chicken.
Yeah, right. Tastes like axle grease, right? Anyway, but DEI has been used as this horrible thing, and woke as a terrible thing. Isn't woke just simply responding to the needs of other people? Yes, Ray.
Woke for the right, for Trumpers, has become code word for let's make things like they were in the 1950s before civil rights. Yep. That's what woke means.
Well, they all.
It has nothing to do with the actual meaning of woke.
They all want to go back to that time. They all want to go back to that time.
That's what they're saying.
I grew up in the 1950s, and I'll have to say, I can't tell you whether it was a great time or a bad time, because the bad part of it was the whole McCarthy hearings and crap like that, which was just insane. It was insanity, But on the other hand, I was a kid at the time. I started the 50s at age 10. And so for a 10-year-old kid growing up in Marin County, California, it was okay. It was cool, I had a good time, but I was white. I had black friends, and I had to go down and see them in Marin City, which was the city where all the blacks lived.
It still is.
Is it still that way?
Yeah.
It's
shrunk, but it's still like that.
Marin County was pretty much white. I had my best friend's father. My best friend's father was the only black merchant on 4th Street in San Rafael, and he ran a shoe shop, a shoe repair shop, and did very well, did terrifically. And one day they finally decided to build these nicer homes in Marin City, and so he bought one of them. And I said, well, why didn't you just take that money and go move to like San Rafael or San Anselmo or one of those other towns in Marin County. And he said, because they wouldn't sell to me.
Oh,
And it was the first time I realized there was such a thing going on. And he said, I really want to thank you, white people. I said, for what? He said, I've saved a lot of money because I couldn't buy into your part of the county. And so he bought a very nice home on the hill. They built them these very nice homes, and there he lived the rest of his life out. So but Marin County, I had these friends in Marin City who were my friends, and I used to go and hang out with them all the time. So anyway. What were you going to say, Ray?
I was just going to say I read a book once about this, and the irony of segregation, we shouldn't go back to it, but there was the ability, because things were segregated, to develop more black businesses. There was apparently in Las Vegas, there was like a strip just for black people.
There was a black side of town, and that's where all the black performers, like Sammy Davis Jr.,
exactly,
had to go to stay when they were working at the big hotels.
But it was thriving. Like they made money because of this. And then once segregation went away, it all got absorbed, and then there was a lot of loss of businesses. A lot of businesses disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's just ironic.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. Well, there was a time when we lived in a very segregated world. Movies, there was a whole movie industry that were called race films.
Yeah.
And some great directors, like a guy by the name of Oscar Michaud, worked that.
Great movies.
Yeah. They were great movies.
Yeah.
But these guys would never, ever be able to work in the white studios. So they made their own movies, and they had race films. Then I started to think about it, and really, don't we make race films now? Doesn't Tyler Perry make race films? And how is that, how has that made life better for us? That now, instead of being segregated and forced segregation, it's now voluntary segregation, which is just as terrible.
I don't know.
But like the Bay Area, we're so diverse. You have Little Saigon in San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
You have Japantown in San Jose. So for white people, we know we can go get good food in those areas.
Yeah.
But they're all communities, and they're all neighborhoods.
Yeah, but you never heard of a place called Negro Town. You heard of Chinatown and Japantown, but you never heard of Negro Town.
East Palo Alto was Negro Town.
They're all going. Yeah, but East Palo Alto is now all Latino.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is
$1 million homes.
Yeah,
well, they are like 11, 12 people in every one of those $1 million homes that they're renting
It's
out.
sort of like Richmond, California. Richmond, California, when I grew up, was predominantly African American. There are some nice places.
I think
we're not.
I think the difference between a Chinatown and a place where black people were forced to live in those days was the fact that they were forced to live in those areas, but Chinatown was an economic thing. They had Chinese restaurants, they sold Chinese trinkets, and that's the only reason why Chinatown existed, was as an economic thing for the Asian people.
In Richmond, the housing where the blacks lived was when I was growing up, a lot of it was subsidized housing. It was poor housing, high crime neighborhoods.
Super high.
Stuff like that. But Richmond has changed over the years, and there are now educated black families that are living in nicer neighborhoods. And there's a lot of Latinos and Asians and stuff in Richmond. Although the crime rate bounces all over.
I was a pretty brave kid back in the day, because I used to go with my black friends, and we'd go over to like what they called dances in Richmond, where I was the only white guy there. But boy, did I get to see some great shows. I saw Ray Charles, and his opening act was Ike and Tina Turner.
Wow.
In California?
Huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
I once delivered a spinach salad to Tina Turner. She was very nice.
You know how she used to get the spinach out of her teeth? By just saying Tina Turner. Anyway. But
I get it.
You know,
yeah, I was going to say it's time for him to explain the joke.
Yeah. I think they understood it. You were the only one that didn't get
Ray
it.
said he didn't understand.
Oh,
it.
No, I said I think I get it. I was joking around. I do get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they say Target. They're trying to have a 40-day boycott of Target because of DEI.
Yeah.
Are they doing away with the DNI at Target?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they did a couple months ago.
That's why
like
they
you guys are saying, you still go there and you still see everybody working there. They're all kids.
I think
right?
it was
they didn't fire 'em.
last Friday. We weren't supposed to buy anything. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
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 Like it's going to do anything.
What was the reason for that? Because the next day you're buying again. You know,
I don't know. You're just waiting.
It's a warm up for a week-long affair like that.
I mean,
in March.
I can see you going out and boycotting Tesla, because this guy has been doing some terrible things. I mean, this is what happens. This is what happens when you get too much money and you think you now are a politician too, by virtue of the fact that you're the richest man in the world. Well, he's the richest man in the world for the moment. That doesn't say he's going to continue to be,
Well, that Chainsaw Act kind of showed that he's blowing a tiny chop, just like his,
I think Musk wanted to be in politics in other countries, and this afforded him that stepping stone to go to other countries that are more conservative and give him a higher status.
He went to Germany and spoke for that neo-Nazi party, right?
Yeah.
It cost him $40 billion in sales in Germany.
Good. The Chancellor of Germany said that he's an idiot.
Well, he is an idiot.
He's not very articulate. He's kind of stupid.
Yeah. He stands there like a robin up in the crowd when Trump's talking to him like this. He's nodding his head like this, looking around, and and I'm like, "What's that? Why don't you wave at the?"
Can't you be happy with having all that money and sending rockets up and doing a good job with that, and running your little car company? Can't you be happy with that? What's the advantage to what he's doing now?
They say he's not a smart guy. He's just a good investor, right?
He's a good investor.
Okay,
Tesla.
let me just throw.
He didn't create SpaceX.
Mm-hmm.
He created PayPal.
He was the fifth CEO of Tesla.
Yeah, but he almost killed PayPal.
Yeah, he's not very good. He's lucky.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well,
and he's just not very smart. I'm telling you, he's just not very.
Could we say that he's maybe hired the right people to work at those places? Because after all, you've got SpaceX, and you got to hire people to send those rockets up, and he's got the best in the business. He's got young people with new ideas of how you do this, I mean, the chopsticks that catch the rockets. Come on. It doesn't get better than that, But
except for we ought to have NASA doing that, the U.S. government.
But they killed NASA. They killed NASA when he was trying to get going at the very beginning.
I don't mind if it's private industry. And private industry's been doing more than NASA was ever able to. NASA was too bloated.
Yeah.
And they were sending up these rockets that were far too heavy, I mean, but the point I'm making is I feel really bad about that to begin with. By the way, how's your knee, Ray?
Okay. Well, last night at 2 a.m, I had a nightmare and fell out of freaking bed.
I've done that. I fell out of bed too. Yeah.
And I landed on it.
Oh.
And I have this bell, and I'm ringing the shit out of it for 15 minutes. No one in my family comes to help me. I can't get up. I don't know if I screwed up my knee. Finally, my wife shows up. Took me like 10 minutes to get back in the bed. We had to figure all these things out. She can't lift me. I'm twice her size.
Has anybody here ever fallen out of bed in your sleep?
Oh, I have like a few times.
When I did it a while back, it happens and you wake up when you hit the floor, right?
Oh, it's horrible.
And then
it's horrible.
it takes you forever to get back in the bed because you're half asleep.
Oh, and you're in
Just
shock.
put a pillow
and
on the floor. Just put a pillow on the floor. When you fall down, grab the pillow.
Yeah,
I will, but it's just a horrible experience.
I know.
Especially when you just had a knee replacement.
Yeah, so your knee's okay.
Well, no, I got a giant bruise on the ins. I had been doing my physical therapy every day. I almost had 90 degrees on the bend, and now I don't. I had now I have like 30 again.
Oh God, that's terrible.
And the doctor said just keep icing it, and keep it elevated. And he said it'll probably once the bruising goes away, you'll probably be okay.
Ray, just call me, Ray, and I'll get there before your family does.
Well, finally, I called because I called her twice, no answer, and I guess she has a thing on her phone. If you call her 3 times, it keeps going through, and then she answered finally. She was in the other room because you don't want to be in the bed with me when I'm like this. I'm up and down all night long.
I wouldn't want to be in the bed with you at all.
Well, it'd be terrible to have your knee operated on and then have a prostate. Do you have a prostate problem too?
Yes.
So you're getting up several times during the night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
but I have a little jar I pee into.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
Yeah.
But
but sometimes it fills up.
He sells those jars.
You need a bigger tank.
I love getting old. It's just freaking awesome.
Yeah. Oh,
I remember when I first started coming on this show, I wasn't like old. Now I'm old.
How old are you now?
63.
You're a puppy, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but I'm having old person shit happen to me.
How old are you, Richard?
70, just turned 70.
See, he's 60, this kid. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. How old are you,
63.
Jeff?
I'm going to be 80 this week.
Okay.
This month.
See, you want to talk about...
Well, I'm just a wimp.
You want to talk about old?
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
How
I'm
old
not
are you
old,
now,
I'm
Kevin?
young.
I forgot. You're in
67.
67. So,
68 in June.
yeah. So,
man.
So shut up, Ray, and just let your leg heal. And
You know what else happened? The anesthesiologist forgot to put the nerve block in at the end of the surgery. And as soon as the epidural wore off, I was in freaking hell on earth, man. And they kept giving me morphine and it didn't work. I thought I was gonna die and it never let up. And then finally they gave me the nerve block after 3 hours.
This is what malpractice.
Did you go to a hospital?
Yep.
You know the anesthesiologist.
Yeah, but he was operated on one of those walk-in.
The anesthesiologist.
And then so the next morning,
is supposed to keep you alive during surgery and pain-free.
Well, it didn't happen.
If they fail on that, this is what lawsuits are made out of.
And then the next morning, my doctor, I guess he was afraid, my surgeon, he comes into my room and he goes, "I'm so fucking pissed at that goddamn anesthesiologist." This is what he said.
Yeah.
Because he's covering his own ass.
Absolutely.
And he didn't even mention my surgery or anything.
When I had my seeds done, they had to give me a what do you call it? A spinal. All right.
Yeah.
To deaden
That's
me.
what I had.
Because they didn't want to put me out because I'm too old. Okay. So they did a spinal. And afterwards, it took forever. It took 3 hours for me to get my legs back. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, it takes. You tell your leg to move and it doesn't move.
Right. Exactly.
You know, Ray, that's sad because it wasn't like emergency surgery. They had time for you to meet with the anesthesiologist, and for that person to find out about you and stuff, so they know. Right. So they should have known how much anesthesia to give you and how long it would last.
Yeah.
You know,
Anyway.
On the surgery.
Yeah, anyway,
that's
hey, listen.
Yeah.
The theme is playing. I had something I wanted to bring up and I forgot what it was. Oh, well. I'm not going to bring it up now because we've run out of time to talk, but I'll remember by tomorrow and we can talk about it then. Jeff, thank you so much for calling tonight. Nice participation. Kevin, always good having you here. Charlie, a pleasure. Richard, it's wonderful to see you coming back like this. It warms the cockles of my heart and other parts of my body. And Alan, thank you so much for being with us. Al Neary, who works for The Godfather, thank you so much. Do you know that character was Al Neary, don't you?
My grandfather's name was Al Neary.
Oh, boy.
So my godfather, when I was young, he used to say that was the story of our family, and that was my godfather was terrible.
Anyway, thank you to Bree, and thank you, Ray, for joining us tonight. Everybody give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? And if everybody stays tuned right here, coming up next, let me just get rid of all this stuff here, and then I'm gonna get rid of them. And welcome back, okay? And we're here tomorrow night again. And next is the Intersection with Amy Manuel. I'll get this all straight. And then I'll see you tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. Have a nice night.